Hi, it's Jules here with the first in a series of videos talking about transformation. The reason it's called transformation is because that's what I share. My life started off not transformed in a family, one of many, many families in countries where we're in the West, we're from not very rich heritage, and there were a lot of dysfunctional patternings in life. Rather than going into much detail, I'm going to tell a story of a child. A child comes here with a sense of divinity, a spark of the divine within. A child is a beautiful, pristine, pure soul, a baby, unremittingly innocent, pure, made of stardust. And think about that child coming down to the planet. Think about the planet. What is it? It's an insignificant rock. A lot of people say in a corner of the universe somewhere. Think about what we endure as humans, what we put each other through, how we conduct ourselves around each other, how we conduct ourselves around our families and friends. How do we conduct ourselves in our communities, our nation? How does our nation behave? And how do we treat the planet? And I will say a caveat around that. I am not a climate activist warrior. However, I have a deep, deep love for the planet. But back to this baby. This baby comes made of stardust, innocent. When you think about the gift of a child, on the spiritual level, child is a gift. Two human beings joined together in sexual union, and 9 months later, a whole new human being has been created. One could say kissed by God. And I will use words like divine and God, spirituality, consciousness. I'm not a devout Christian. I'm not a Muslim. I'm not a Buddhist. There are other labels that we use as well about people's conduct, about people's situation in the world. You are an empath. You are a narcissist. You are autistic. You have ADHD. You're bipolar. You have borderline personality disorder. All important are labels, all important to give certain people a sense of orientation in the world. But what really orients us in the world is the ego, that invisible, ethereal sense of self that a child doesn't even have. We all know famous people who've got huge egos. We may know famous people who don't appear to even have an ego at all, but they do. The ones with huge egos, chances are those egos are very fragile. The ego is a wonderful thing. And the ego can become a tyrant. When the ego is used as a faithful servant, it's a magical thing. So the baby comes here made of stardust, kissed by God, delivered by fairies, a brand new soul, pristine, untainted, unconditioned, and the child lands in a house in the north of England in the UK. Not specifically me, not specifically my child, no specific child. And they land here and they haven't got a clue. Not a clue. Some children do have memories of past lives. There is a famous story of a child in America being able to go to a house, tell stories about the life they led. They're even making films about this on Netflix. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. Because as much as we humans think we know all about the universe, we don't. We don't really know anything. The only thing we know is the present moment. The only thing we know is that we breathe in, we breathe out. Our heart beats. We have, I think it's called an autonomous nervous system. And how many of us are really autonomous? We're back to the innocent child again. Up to the about the age of 18 months or so, the child is still acting on instinct, a very animalistic energy. The child is connected to the mother more than the father, because the biological system ties the child to the mother, the source of food. The child relies on the mother to want to look after the baby. The child relies on the mother not to use that baby as a compensation for an unhappy marriage or a failing career. If we want to look at the lineage of the mother, was the mother honoured as the daughter? Was the mother treated like the sacred soul that she was when she came here? The mother's gone through her conditioning. And I speak about the mother first, because this is the first human that the child is meant to bond with. And sadly, on occasion, that doesn't happen. The mother doesn't bond. Maybe the child's not so well. Maybe for some reason the mother can't keep the child. The child is adopted out to a strange family. Right from the get-go, doesn't even have that opportunity to bond. Good adrift. The child is so precious. And that every child growing up will experience some aspect of a wounding. Whether it be one wounding that's very minimal, or many different woundings. Some severe. We've all gone through it. We've all gone through that baby stage. And that's that stage at which that child starts to develop a sense of self. Starts to reach out to the father figure. Whether that be a masculine father who's married to the mother. On the general consideration of the old concept of a nuclear family, the father at this point would start to take the child out to play. The father has the job of being a kind of giant playmate. giving the child a different perspective beyond the confines of the nursery with the mother. How does the child get treated by the father? Is the child the gender the father would have preferred? Does the child have the right coloured hair? Does the child look the part? Does the child want to do the things that the father enjoys doing? Whether that be a boy or a girl. There's a lot of expectation on a toddler to fit the expectations of the parents. The parents maybe have been together for a while. They have a lifestyle, and that baby has to fit in with that lifestyle. Sometimes the baby doesn't even get to see the parents full time. Sometimes the baby is put into a nursery, and then into kindergarten, and then into school. So the amount of time that the child has with the full family in the home, it's not much time at all. And yet the child is expected to fit in, comply, not only with the family, with the environment in which they live, to behave in the culture that prevails. To learn to go into an environment, a strange environment, such as school, that they've never come across before. Being told what to do by strangers. Some children take to it like a duck to water. Some love it. Other children absolutely hate it. Because it's a regimented place, rightly or wrongly. And they learn to make marks on pieces of paper. They learn to press keys on a keyboard. Think about this. A pristine fairy child made of stardust. Is that what they thought they'd signed up for? Maybe not. Although that's what they have to endure in this incarnation. As we talk about transformation, really transformation is deconditioning, shedding. Famous Buddhist saying that the act of transformation is the act of letting go. It's letting go all these regimentations and traditions and cultures and rules and regulations that the child has been conditioned by. So by the time they reach adulthood, they are a fully formed adult human being, expected to get on with it. It's all down to you now. We've trained you up. You know what to do. Off you pop. How many people have reached adulthood and really, deep down inside, feel that they haven't got a clue what they're doing? Not only that, carrying the burdens of their ancestral patterning, which may or may not be dysfunctional. So many projections on them from the parents, and from many still living grandparents that haven't been resolved. Because their caregivers reached adulthood and they didn't know what they were doing. Every single one of these adults has an ego, which is invisible, yet is an imagined manifestation of this guidance system that we adopt as we grow, as we come to maturity. Our ego has matured. Does anyone know what it looks like? No one can know. It's a made-up construct. Although we do have the ability to make it up, we do have the ability to construct it. So all is not lost. We humans are very, very clever. We'll carry on with the next part of the story in the second video.